Hey there, my name's Kevin, and you might be wondering, why the hell am I starting off this video while running? Well, to be honest, my physique took an all-time low during the pandemic, and I'm out here breaking a record. So, let me take you back to the beginning.
So, the story starts in March 2020. Entering a world of lockdown, like many, I embraced the break at first. Going virtual, everything closing. Hell, for me it was like a forced vacation. A pause from the usual routine. But what I thought would be 2 weeks eventually became 2 months. And what I thought would be 2 months would actually be, well, look at where we are. 2 years later. One of the aspects that sucked the most was a shutdown of all sports and gyms. Being stuck inside and introduced to quick service food apps like DoorDash and Uber Eats, well, let's just say it was a recipe leading me back to my glory days. The lack of energy spent during the day would cause me to have difficulty falling asleep, and I slowly began to see myself morphing back into the kid I used to be. So like many, I adapted and took matters into my own hands and started working out. It started with living room workouts and watching YouTube fitness gurus. I then shifted towards my DVD box set of GSP that had been sitting in my parents' living room for over a decade. As it got warmer, we started taking out our dumbbells for outdoor workouts, and eventually we turned our garage into a self-made home gym. But even with all that, it still wasn't enough. Working out at the same place that you eat, sleep, and live gets demoralizing over time. And I was in need of something more, something that would get me out of the house, something that would challenge my cardio. All right, running. Where to goddamn start? I definitely have a love-hate relationship with the sport, and let me tell you why. The year is 2012. In the last 3 years of high school, there would be an annual 5-kilometer running competition where everybody in the school would compete to try and make the podium. The first year, I managed to rank 5th, and I swore to myself I would not graduate without having been part of that podium. So a month before the race, I would train religiously in hopes to beat those damn soccer freaks who had great cardio. And somehow I managed to rank worst every year. And the worst part is I'm still friends with those guys that rank podium and have to remind me that I never had what it took to beat them. I actually have to live with one of them as well. I then picked up running a few years later through the popularization of Casey Neistat and his famous vlogs, but it didn't really last long. And finally, that brings us to 2020. Not much experience, never won a race, never won a medal. However, I did compete in the Spartan race, so I don't know if that counts. But regardless, I decided to embark on this journey and take up running way more seriously. With many of my friends having since picked it up, they told me to download Strava, a running application that would track my stats. And let me tell you, this is where it would all change. Don't get me wrong, I love fitness, but I have an even deeper love for competition. Adding a competitive edge to something is what fuels my motivation when it comes to most sports. It started with basketball and grew even stronger with rugby. I began running and I really liked it. Every time upping my distance and trying to beat my previous pace, it was kind of a self-challenge that allowed me to compete with myself, all while getting good cardio when doing it. I trained every week, 2 to 3 times a week, and so on and so forth. This allowed me to achieve one of the biggest Strava records that went beyond all of my expectations. I was a local legend for the Remembrance Climb in Montreal. What does that mean? It means I'm the only person who has a Strava app and ran up a specific segment in Montreal the most amount of times. I honestly pride myself on this accomplishment. You know why? Because it's the only goddamn accomplishment I have on Strava. Over time, I've realized that beyond running for hours on a monthly basis, I am definitely not a typical runner, nor do I have a runner's body. I weigh in at 210 pounds, measure about 6 feet. In other words, I'm generally a bigger guy. And let me tell you, I am no natural runner. Would I say I prefer running over competitive sports? Probably not. The constant repetition of movement is a great escape from time to time, but when you begin to compete with yourself, it starts to get dreadful. You often question yourself as to why you're running and basically play mind games with yourself the entire day, trying to motivate your lazy ass to get out and run. Over the last 2 years, my motivation for running has definitely decreased, and consequently, I've let myself go. It has now bitten me in the ass. About 1 week ago, I got an email from Strava. and I lost my record. I lost my record to a guy called Samuel Doiron. He stripped my title, and I'm left here feeling like an absolute fool, with no records, no titles to show for on the app. This was a true wake-up call. A slap in the face to get off my lazy ass and run. I've been given a purpose to reclaim my title. Unfortunately, it isn't that easy. It's currently January, and I live in Montreal, Canada, home to some of the coldest winters in the entire world. But regardless of all that, I'm officially setting myself out to reclaim my title in the span of 1 week. Now, for me to reclaim my record, I want to make sure I'm setting myself up for proper success. After a couple of outdoor runs, I quickly realized that the cheap running gear I was using before ain't gonna cut it in the winter. So I had to make a much needed stop to upgrade and get proper footwear. I present to you the Speed Cross 5. Perfect for outdoor running, it has waterproof Gore-Tex material and is guaranteed to have proper traction so you don't slip in those icy conditions. I also got ankle weights because why not? I'm a runner now and it's time to fully commit. Now, don't think I was just gonna stop there. I met up with my cousin Kenny, a personal trainer, former 2-time bodybuilder medalist, and fitness guru for some much needed tips. After a proper warm-up cardio session and KenFit workout, he probably gave me one of the best pieces of advice I could use.
Okay, not bad. But it's time to take things up to the next level. We're Canadian. We gotta embrace our culture, our country, and with it, the weather.
What do you mean?
Alright, Kev, you wanna break that record? This is what I try to do. Embrace the cold, let's go, come on! Run it!
So after a solid feeling of hypothermia and shriveled scrotum, I was one step closer to accomplishing my goal.
But despite all that, I was still missing something. I just didn't feel like I was ready. I still had so much to face before reclaiming my record. That night, I couldn't sleep, but I knew what I needed to do. As the sun rose in the early morning, I put my clothes back on and joined my good friend Thomas. A pro runner who has racked up countless hours of running over the last couple of years, averages a pace I could never dream of achieving, and is now training for a triathlon. With the blissful sun rising and the winter winds piercing through our bodies, he gave me the confidence I needed, the final push and parting words of wisdom.
Go break that record.
Thomas was right. It was time. Time to put all this work towards my goal. It was time to run up the remembrance climb. Through the hours of hard work and preparation, I was able to face my biggest challenges of the cold, ran in the frigid temperatures of Montreal, did some good old-fashioned trail running up north, and ran more in 1 week than I did the previous 3 months combined. With that record constantly on my mind, I made my way up the remembrance climb. And again, and again.
We're gonna beat that record, baby. It's mine.
And again. Finally, my time had come. I got back from my run at the end of the week and received the best news a man could get. I had reclaimed my title. I don't think I remember the last time I was so happy.
It goes to show you that when you're ready to dedicate yourself towards a goal, you really can accomplish anything you want. And to all those out there, hey guys, I hope you liked that video. If you can like, comment, and subscribe, it would really help in supporting the channel. Thank you so much, and I hope to catch you on the next one.